When I'm thinking about a difference I can make, several things come to mind. One of which is to never fear failure, but to be terrified of regret. You know, it's important that we realize that while we may not be able to make huge differences, that those little differences inspire and collectively make a big difference. I think you can make a bigger difference and contribution if you engage in those things that are passionate to you, that you think are critical for changes that affect a broader picture. So certainly women's issues are very important, not just regionally or country-wise, but internationally as well. The other thing that I think moves me a lot are the immediacy of the drug issue. Last year, over 93,000 people overdosed, deaths. So while COVID has taken the front pages, this ongoing issue that affects every social economic class and certainly every race is broader than the 93,000 people that died. It's in the millions of people that are affected. So certainly addiction issues is important to me. I also feel that things that preserve history that's important to our going forward is important to me. So I recently came upon a organization that is preserving music that was composed during the Holocaust. So can you imagine, under those horrific conditions, still composing music? And so far, over 3,000 pieces of music have been saved. So it's, in a small way, my supporting an organization like that preserves the memory of those who sacrificed so much. I also have a great passion for nature and animals. So I think a society can be judged on how it treats its most vulnerable. So that would include the elderly, children, and creatures great and small. So I find that I am drawn to those organizations that are making a real difference. And you could say, well, you know, why is that important in the scope of the huge issues that are confronting the world today? But I think that's where individual effort makes a real difference. And it also improves our humanity. It improves our humanity by caring for those who are vulnerable. When my husband passed away last year, I wanted to find a way to remember him and for him not to be forgotten. And my estate planning attorney, who was also affiliated with the Community Fund, told me about its effort and how this might work. And that seemed like the perfect solution to me, because I could invest in projects in his name that would go on in perpetuity, and at the same time help organizations that I knew would be close to his heart. So Lou Titai is the person that introduced me to this organization. I was familiar with the Philadelphia Foundation because I did a lot of work in Philly, but I was not familiar with the Chester County Community Foundation and all the good work it does. So I was grateful to him for sharing that information with me, and it's been a really uplifting and wonderful association for me. When I think about how my career as a social policy planner for corporations allowed me to make social investments in projects and organizations that still continue to this day and have made a real difference. So among them was the Avenue of the Arts Festival in Philadelphia. The Avenue of the Arts, AKA South Broad Street, was undergoing some economic issues. And I saw that without planning it, that Broadway was next to Wall Street. You had all the major banks and all the major arts institutions. So the idea of combining them for economic supports of the arts, which had the fallout of an economic benefit to the city, was an idea that was born in my office back in the 70s. So that's certainly one. The other is Philadelphia Green. I was able to secure the first grant for the first community garden at a time when a lot of folks on the business side thought it would never work. And now there are over 400 community gardens in Philadelphia. And then for 27 years, I served on a board called Endow a Home. And it was a program that helped homeless women with children reestablish their lives by providing them with a house and education and life skills they needed to be self-sufficient. So some of our kids went from living in an abandoned house to getting full college scholarships. So we broke that cycle of poverty for many, many families. And that's something that I'm immensely proud of. And that organization was under the auspices of Resources for Human Development, a major nonprofit in our region that serves many communities. Women's Way. This was the very first, believe it or not, in the country, umbrella organization for women's agencies like Women Against Rape, the Elizabeth Blackwell Health Center, the Pennsylvania Program for Women and Girl Offenders. Many organizations were under this one umbrella that we thought that in concentration we would be able to do more funding. And I had the privilege of serving on the original board of Women's Way. And that still exists today, and I'm very proud of that. The list goes on, but I guess I have this DNA that tells me, get out there, make a difference. You know, there's so many things that need fixing, and you can do it. And my husband was very supportive of that. So that's some of the things that have moved me to make a difference. People ask themselves a couple questions like, what difference can I make? I'm only one person. Or why should I give? Well, my answer to those questions are, yes, you can make a difference. And not, why should you give? Why not? Why not make a difference? You know, that old saying of life being not a dress rehearsal, it's really true. So when you look back, the fact that you have been able to influence or contribute or make a difference or show support for, that has made a person or a community's life better, the reward is so much greater than any amount of money or effort that you have given. So I think my advice to anyone who's considering or is troubled by something that's going on to society is get involved, make a difference, be fearless.